We spend a lot of time standing and don't necessarily pay attention to the alignment of our bodies while we're doing so. So I'm going to demonstrate a way to find a healthy alignment in your body that you can use when you're standing in line, or when you're waiting, when you're standing around, when you're talking on the phone, so that you can build an awareness of how your body is aligned and move toward having a healthier alignment more of the time. So we'll start at the feet. So oftentimes we don't have our weight evenly distributed on our feet. So what you want to do is find an even distribution where the balls of your feet and the heels are taking an even amount of weight, so that your weight is really in the center of your foot. You can lift the toes, spread them wide, and sort of press them down into the floor to widen your base of support, so that you're not gripping or holding in the arch or the sole of the foot, but let your feet relax as if they're sort of melting into the floor. Then bring your awareness up to your knees. So sometimes we tend to lock in the knees and put a lot of pressure in the knee. You want a little bit of softness in the knee. For those of you who are used to locking, it might feel like a bend, and that's actually okay. It's okay to have a little micro bend in the knees. And actually you'll find that as you do that, you're engaging some muscles that you might not be used to using. And then we bring our awareness to the pelvis. So again, this is a place where we might tend to tip forward or back. And so you want to think about letting the pelvis drop down into the legs. And if you think about the pelvis as a bowl that it has soup in it, you want to make sure that it's not tipping the soup forward or tipping the soup back, but the soup is staying in the bowl, is one way to think about it. Then bring your awareness up to the shoulders, which instead of being forward or back, should be lined up right over the hips. And you have this little bump, this bone at the top of the hip, and you also have a bone at the top of the shoulder. So you can think about these two bones being lined up right on top of each other. If your shoulders are forward of your hips, that's not a healthy alignment. If your shoulders are back behind your hips, that's not a healthy alignment. And if you're feeling any compression in your low back, imagine that you're lifting the ribs so that you're creating space between the low ribs and the hips. And you can even use your fingers here, put a finger on the hip and a finger on the low ribs, and imagine that those fingers are spreading apart from each other. When you lengthen the spine, you're actually decompressing those spongy layers that are between every vertebrae. So if we sink into the spine and collapse, then we're putting a lot of pressure on the spine. But if we use all of those core muscles to create length, then we're actually taking the compression out of the spine. And then from here, notice what's happening with the head and neck. Is the chin forward or back? Is it tilted up or down? Especially as people spend more time on devices, they tend to have their head forward and sort of like this. So you want to think about the shoulders coming back, but also the chin coming back parallel to the floor so that the head is aligned with the rest of the spine. This is a whole lot to think about, but it's a good practice to find an awareness of the body, bring yourself into a healthy alignment that's going to serve you for years to come. If you spend a lot of time sitting in a chair, it's important to notice your alignment while you're sitting. A lot of the principles of standing with healthy alignment also apply to sitting with healthy alignment. And there are two main ways to sit with healthy alignment in a chair. One is sitting away from the chair, and the other is sitting with the back supported by the chair. So we'll talk through both of those. If you're sitting away from the back of the chair, one of the benefits is that you're able to engage all of your core muscles and maintain the strength of your torso. However, that can get tiring, and if you find that you're slouching and unable to hold yourself upright, then you want to take a break from that and sit back and allow the back of the chair to support you. It's important that when you're sitting against the back of the chair that you not sink into the chair, but find a healthy alignment of the spine and let the back of the chair take a little bit of the weight. So it's important to have a chair that has a firm enough back that it can help you to sit upright in the chair. When you're sitting away from the chair, you have to find that healthy alignment on your own. And again, we can start with the feet. So here you want to think about your ankles being lined up right underneath the knees. So the feet shouldn't be too far together or too far apart. And again, making sure that the weight is sort of evenly distributed through the feet, that you're not leaning back or forward. It's less critical while you're sitting because there's a lot less weight in the feet, but it's still a good practice to notice how your weight is distributed on the feet. And again, you can lift the toes, spread them wide, sort of press them down into the floor. Feel that connection of your feet with the floor. Lining the knees up over the ankles and also the hips lined up with the knees. So you might otherwise have the knees splayed out or knocked in, but thinking about that right angle so that it goes from the ankles to the knees and then from the knees to the hips. Depending on your leg length, you might need to adjust the height of the chair seat if you have a chair that's adjustable. Otherwise, you might want to put something underneath your feet if you're a little bit shorter, or you might want to put something underneath your seat if you're a little bit taller, so that the knees aren't higher than the hips or a lot lower than the hips. From here, being sure that the pelvis is aligned so that you're not rolling back on the pelvis or rolling too far forward. Drawing the shoulders back and down instead of hunching forward. And you can do that by rolling the shoulders back and down. And imagine that the shoulder blades are sliding in and down the spine instead of holding the shoulders up like you're wearing them as earrings. So drop the shoulders away from the ears, bring the shoulder blades in toward each other. And if you're using a keyboard, you want to think about letting the forearms relax, so having some support so that the shoulders don't end up being held all of the time that you're typing. Even a little bit of support underneath the hands is helpful. From here, notice the alignment of the head so that it's not jutting forward or too far back, not down or up, but aligned with the rest of the spine, and find the length in the spine so that you're not experiencing compression of the vertebrae, and you can even move with the breath. And as you inhale, think about finding that length, and as you exhale, letting any tension in the body soften. This is something nice to think about a few times a day while you're at your desk, and even get up from the desk so that you're not sitting for incredibly long stretches of time. So you can practice standing and sitting with healthy alignment.